And when you mentioned some discomfort carrying some things that weigh 10 pounds, like this Lamy basket, so I'm going to teach you just ways to pick up Lamy baskets and other things without putting much strain on your body, and we call that ergonomics. So it's good to bend, don't bend at the back, bend down at the knees, and then off the handles, and lift it close to your body, and try to put most of the force in like your shoulders and like your big joints rather than trying to lift something with your fingers.
Okay, so I want to bend at my knees and grab here.
And tone by like pivoting your feet too. Don't twist your back to
Like
the
this?
side.
And do I want to hold it up here, or?
You can hold it up there close to you.
Yeah, that feels a little bit better. The thing that I just wanted to point out here is that this is also a really good way to avoid extra strain on the back. And I want to point out that when we do use the step stool, we want to make sure it's as close to the counter as possible, and you're getting as close to that shelf as possible, because I don't want you leaning forward to try to grab something, because then that's going to put extra strain on your back. The other thing that this step stool is really great for is we have something in ergonomics that we call a reach envelope, and so basically it's what you can comfortably reach without straining this way or that way and twisting that spine. And so this is going to essentially extend your reach envelope. So when you get up on this stool, you're able to comfortably reach up to that third shelf, whereas when you're standing here, that's without, out of your natural reach envelope. So this is also a really good way to promote good ergonomics, good body posture, and I think it'll overall just be a really good solution for you.
I mentioned you have some discomfort washing the dishes because of your fatigue, and one way to help with that is only wash a single set of dishes at a time. So once you're finished with your meal, go ahead and wash those dishes, and then that will prevent the buildup of dishes. And another thing you can do is you can use a drying rack, and that will save you having to hand dry the dishes. You can just let them air dry. And if you have, say, a pot with a lot of staining, you can just let that soak in hot water and just let that do most of the work for you instead of just trying to scrub at it. That will help a lot too.
That's a good idea. I tend to let my dishes pile up, and then once I get around to actually doing them, then I get really tired really fast because I'm using my left hand and my arm gets tight, and yeah, especially with those tough stains. I definitely didn't think about soaking them. My husband just bought this dish rack for me, so I'm excited to be able to use it, and I think that will definitely help a lot when I'm doing my dishes with hopefully not getting as tired.
And you can always take a break too if you need it.
Okay, so I remember that you had talked a little bit about having trouble reaching up to grab objects that were above your head with some of that tightness and swelling that the lymphedema is causing. So I wanted to teach you a few tricks for that. Specifically, the biggest one here is going to be using a step stool. This is the best way to simplify reaching overhead, and I know that probably the second and third shelf here in your kitchen is going to be the hardest. And so we have a step stool here that I think your husband found this in the garage. So what I think will be really good is just to have you try to come on up here and grab something from the top shelf, and I want to see how that feels on your arm.
Yeah, that's a lot better. I don't have to extend my arm as much.
Do you feel like that tightness, you don't feel that tightness as much, or?
Maybe a little bit, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
It's not as bad. Okay, so I think this is a really good temporary solution for you, especially as we work on getting some of that lymph fluid back in circulation with our manual lymphedema mobilization and some of that scar tissue mobilization. I think that tightness will slowly decrease. So I think that this is a really good way to kind of temporarily help you out with some of those daily tasks that involve reaching while we work on that tightness.